And this is exactly why you should not take average-sized books and split them into 2 movies for the big screen. It just never makes it a smooth ride. The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2. So The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2 is a film adaptation of the second half of the final Hunger Games book. And in that we're following the final moves of Katniss Everdeen trying to dethrone President Douche Snow. Yeah, his name is Snow and he's a complete bastard, which officially might make Panem Westeros. Contrary to what my intro would entail, there is enjoyment in this movie. First of all, I like some of the directions they took with the characters. Specifically with Peeta. You know, they got him at the end of the last movie. Peeta's kind of messed up in the head, spoiler alert. So he's on this journey with Katniss and crew, and the whole time you're like, why on earth are they taking him with him? And there is a story-based reason for it in the movie, but this kind of allowed for some character development with Peeta and made him a deeper character than he's ever been, because we never really got that before. He was just one of the guys in the love triangle. And the action scenes were really exciting. That scene when the tar is coming down that you saw in the trailer, all the traps were big, they were grand, they're everything you would expect the game makers in the Hunger Games to make in a city. And that was damn entertaining. There was this one scene that was straight up from the movie Aliens. That's what I thought anyway. They're chest deep in water, they got the sonar, they got the radar thing all beep, 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 beep. It's really dark, the ambiance is kind of the same, you hear creepy crawlies, but you don't really know what's ahead and what's around them. I don't know where the line actually is that divides paying homage to ripping off, but I just straight up thought the movie Aliens. But this movie does have problems too. I mean, you just look at the characters. They took all this time in the last movie, otherwise known as the first half of the book this movie's based on. They built these characters up that they never really explore in this one. They're just kind of like, all right, we built them up. Yeah, they're in the movie still. And if I'm being completely honest, Katniss by herself, it's just, she's not really an interesting person to me. I mean, we all love her. We're all rooting for her. I think that's because she's played by Jennifer Lawrence, and we all love Jennifer Lawrence, but Katniss as a person, I'm gonna speak plain. She's just kind of boring. And some of the pacing in this movie is balls. Some of the scenes in this movie dragged on. They were just a couple minutes too long. And I was thinking about it, it's because they divided this one average sized book into 2 movies. So when they did that, they're like, okay, now we have 2 movies that if we're true to the book will probably be an hour and 15 minutes long each. So we have to fill it in with filler. Kind of seems like that old classmate from high school. After high school, you run into him in the mall. It's like, oh, whoa, man. Hey, what's up? Oh, hey, how's it going? Oh, nothing much. I'm doing this. What are you doing? Oh, I'm doing this. All right, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. So what else are you up to? No, that conversation should be over, but you're just trying to keep it going, and it doesn't work for this. For this conversation to be optimal, it had to have ended right there when the pause happened, but you didn't. You're keeping it going, and it's hurting the conversation. It's hurting this moment. That happens a lot in this movie. They just keep talking, and it's not character development. They're not developing the characters at all. They're just talking to fill in the gaps, to fill in the time, and you just feel like it's wasting your time. The biggest offender of this is the end. I'm all about resolution in a saga about revolution. But holy shit, this ending alone should have been 15 minutes shorter. It was like the Lord of the Rings Return of the King wrap up with none of the characters you really got that attached to and none of the length to justify it. Lord of the Rings is like a 12-hour saga. And the ending alone takes a directional turn that I respect, and I was interested in that directional turn. Although one stupid ass thing happens that didn't need to happen. It just didn't need to happen in the movie. However, going with it, it was interesting. And then the things happened and kept happening. And you're like, you can end now. If it was just a movie with prolonged resolution that wasn't obviously resolution for the sake of drawing out the running time of this movie, so they felt like they were justified in dividing the book into 2 movies, I could deal with it. But in this case, no, not today. Guys, in the end, The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2 was an enjoyable movie. I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. I enjoyed seeing Katniss make the final moves against Snow. The action was exciting, but it being resolution, this is the thing that's going to stitch together the entire saga. Ultimately, the final chapter of a saga is going to justify everything that you've walked through to get to this moment. And in the end, it's just glaring that the pacing took a huge hit in this movie because they divided the last book into 2 movies and they should never have done that. So can we just stop doing that, Hollywood, please? Because it does nothing but hurt the story as a whole. I know it feels like I'm bitching about this movie way more than I want to, but I need to illustrate the flaws in this movie. However, you should take away from this that I did enjoy The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2, and I will say The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2 is a good time, no alcohol required. All right, so all 4 of the Hunger Games movies, have you seen them? What did you think about them? And what was your favorite one? And whatever you think, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.